welcome back. Welcome back, everybody, to the first installment of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I am your host, Kojo, checking in from what has been a pretty sunny day here in Los Angeles, California. I cannot complain. The sun has been out, has done its job today. So I feel good. I feel great. I'm grateful that I get to be on here. And, we're going to have a great topic today. We're going to talk about 3 lies that neurodivergent people tell themselves, right? And this is, people with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyscalculia. I can't even say a word correctly. But before we do that, before we get into it, use the comment section to let me know what your name is and where you're checking in from. Like I said, I'm checking in from Southern California, and I'm looking forward to seeing who is all here in the stream today. Shout out to Jackie. Jackie's checking in from Missouri. I already know that because Jackie's an OG. So Jackie, happy to have you on the live stream. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Brooke Ritchie, what's going on? Brooke Wilson, how are you doing? It's a Brooke party. Sarah from Ottawa, Canada, how you doing? Kendra, what's up, Kendra? How are you doing? Kendra's checking in from Pennsylvania. Brooke from Oklahoma. Nikki from NJ, I think that's New Jersey. Laureen from Central Florida. Yipsy from Michigan. Angela from Chicago. Mallory, what's up? What's up? Jessica from Kansas. Wow, Ciola from Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. That's what's up. That's cool. That's cool. Montreal, the house. South Africa, the house. Massachusetts, in the house. Vermont, in the house. Pennsylvania again. Yeah, I had a good day. And this is the highlight of my day, getting to be on the live stream. So feeling good. Joplin, Missouri, in the house. LA. All right, so Sally is also here in LA. Australia, in the house. New York City, Brooklyn, Philippines, Ontario, Austin, Texas. Sydney from the Bay Area, in the process of an ADHD and possible bipolar diagnosis. Sydney, I'm rooting for you. Hopefully you get the proper help that you need. It does start with a diagnosis. Texas in house, Kansas, Maine, Ohio, Missouri, Charlotte, California. I had a good month off. It was a good month off. Zoe, come on, Zoe. My dog is messing up. But I'm just excited to be back. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm very grateful for you all. Orlando in the house. Waysboro, North Carolina. Thank you so much, Jessica. Illinois in the house. Maryland, New Zealand, NYC. Thank you so much for having me back. I appreciate that. I just walked off a major panic attack. Well, Christine, you're in the right place. With anxiety and panic attacks, it helps if we can be in the present moment. And I'm sorry that you went through that, but hopefully this live stream is going to help you out. One of the lies that apparently we tell ourselves, we are not enough. I agree with that. Dania, it's not you. I haven't been on for a minute. So I'm happy that I'm on here today. San Antonio in the house, Suffolk, Virginia, Philadelphia. Christina, I'm happy to be on. And we're going to be talking about 3 lies that neurodivergent individuals tell themselves, right? So if you're new to this live stream or you don't know how things work and you want to know what neurodivergent means, it's a term that we use, like an umbrella term, right? And normally, if you hear the term neurodivergent, it's probably somebody's more than likely referring to 2 conditions, either ADHD or autism, but dyslexia is also a part of it. Where's my list? Dysgraphia, dyscalculia. I can't say that word correctly, so I have to look at it. Dyscalculia. But these are the neurodivergent conditions, right? So think of the word neurodivergent, neuro, brain, divergent, different, right? So our brains are different from other people, and that's fine, right? But if we don't know how to take care of our brains and we don't know how to, proceed in this life, it's going to be very difficult for our self-esteem to be where it needs to be. And if our self-esteem is not where it needs to be, what happens, right? We open ourselves up to gaslighting, to abuse, verbal abuse, all types of abuse, right? I don't have to get too in depth, but, we can be, abused in a sense by even people that we love, right? So it's important to know some of these things, right? And before I get into the lies that neurodivergent people tell themselves, you all have already put some great ones in here. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one from Shannon. So Shannon gets a love of the show. I didn't even put this here because I thought this was too obvious, but I should have put it in my list. So let me give Shannon a love of the show and let me explain this a little bit. So I love this because this is a lie that neurodivergent people tell themselves, that they're lazy, right? Especially people struggling with mainly an ADHD thing, right? And we know how closely ADHD is with depression, right? A lot of times with depression, you have no energy, loss of focus, your memory's all over the place, and you don't have that desire to do things, right? Similar to ADHD paralysis, where I know I have to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, but instead I'm just sitting right here. I know I have to do something, but I'm just sitting and just kind of waiting. And eventually I'm going to do what I need to do. But right now I'm just kind of paralyzed, right? And when you look back at the end of the day, you might tell yourself that you're lazy, you're incompetent, you'll never be able to do things for yourself because you didn't get your to do list done, right? So we have to create a new world for ourselves. If we don't do this, you're going to have a hard time. We have to create this world for ourselves where we can accept ourselves and surround ourselves with people that accept us, right? Because it's too much to have to live a life where you're pretending all the time. Like everything, look, if you're depressed, right, everything takes energy, right? So brushing your teeth is going to take energy. Taking a shower takes energy, right? So do you want to add pretending on top of that? Like pretending and masking. We'll talk about masking a little bit later. But all this takes energy, right? And before you know it, you're just burnt out. And I don't think it's fair to yourself to live like that. And Ash just burned the list. I agree. I don't even use a to-do list anymore. I use a priority list, right? Because my to-do list is long. Like I'm always busy. My mom will call me from Tennessee, and I'm like, I'm always busy, but I'm gonna pause to talk to my mom because it's my mom. But people don't understand. Like I'm always busy because I'm always overwhelmed. I always have something to do. So I use a priority list because everything won't get done on the to-do list, but the priority list should be taken care of. And it's probably like one or two things on there. It's nothing too crazy, right? We have to be realistic with ourselves, right? Um, Paralysis is so real. Welcome to the family. Yes, Candace, one of the moderators. So if you're here and it's first time, welcome to the family. How can we help ourselves with the process? So Shannon, real quick, let me talk about this, right? So if you struggle with ADHD paralysis, this is what I do. This is seriously what I do, right? I'll be sitting on the couch, and I know that I have to get my dog to the vet, right? Or I'm going to be late. And if I'm late to the vet, it's going to throw me off my whole schedule. So if I'm stuck in ADHD paralysis, this is what I'll do. I'll literally talk to myself. So, Kojo, get up. Kojo, get up. Kojo, get up. Get up. Get up. Just get something out the fridge. Get up. Can you just get up? Can you just get up? Can you just get up, right? Because the first step of getting to the vet is getting up. I have to actually physically get up and walk, right? But if I'm still sitting down, I'm gonna be stuck. So sometimes I'll talk to myself, but it won't be negative self-talk. So I won't say, Kojo, you're so lazy, get the hell up. No, we don't talk to ourselves like that. I'll say, Kojo, get up, get to the fridge, get something to eat, get up. Because once you're on your feet and you have your shoes on, we're that much closer to getting out of the house, right? So that's what I do for ADHD paralysis. Hope that's helpful, because I know a lot of people have been without their meds because of the shortage. Yeah. And I don't think we as a country are prepared for all these adults who have ADHD. But that's a different topic for a different day because I have a lot to say about that. Let me read a couple of things here. Angela, I'll have a lot of tips for your son. Please just follow my page. I'll have so many tips for him. One of the lies when people say, "Can't you focus?" I hate that. What about feeling we are too much? I hate that as well. Another lie that we tell ourselves is we don't deserve happiness. Everyone else's needs come. Yeah, that's there. Let me see. After 5 alarms, I have a few minutes to sleep. I do that too. Christina uses motivational speeches on YouTube first thing when she wakes up. Okay. Michael from South Carolina, how are you doing? And Mallory says, okay, Barbie. That's good, Barbie. I like that. That's dope. And Candace says, LOL, not me sitting here watching this instead of cleaning for my rent inspection. So, Candace, let me tell you something about this live stream, right? So, this live stream is the perfect time for us to body double, right? That's another ADHD tip. So, if Candace, you have like 3 people in your profile picture, right? Let's say you're at home right now and those same 3 individuals are around you in the living room, right? If you're doing work on your laptop, right, and you have other people around you, you can be more productive by having people in your space who are working and doing something. You don't have to be talking to them, right? But if they're in your area, they can make you more productive. And when you're productive, you feel better about yourself, right? So while you're watching this live stream, I'm assuming that you're watching on your phone, right? If you're watching and listening on your phone, what you could do is you could be cleaning for your rent inspection while watching this live stream. So now you're doubly productive, right? Because you're using the body double of, the 164 people who are on the live stream. So, hopefully that's helpful for you. Michelle, nice to meet you. I'm happy that you're here. Sarah says, I hate that I can't tell I'm rude. I'm high functional autistic. Oh, Sarah, let me take a picture of this because I have a lot to say about this. And it's not that you're rude, but in your world, a lot of people with autism will do this where they'll say something, and I know they're not being rude. But if you live in like the other world or the world for normal people, which I don't know what that world looks like because I'm not normal, but in the world for normal people, they may take it as if you're being rude. So I got a lot of content to make about that. Sarah says, brush your teeth while listening or do a physical. Actually, Sarah, so I've never seen you comment on this live stream, but I like that. So for those of y'all who are watching, use this live stream to do whatever you need to do. Brush your teeth, even take a shower. Like you could take a shower and hook up the phone to like a Bluetooth or something like that. But this is the perfect time to get things done, because that's what I do when I watch live streams and, podcasts and things like that. ADHD tips for standardized. Y'all have some good questions in here. I'll get to some of this in the content. Michael, I appreciate you, my guy. I appreciate you. Any tips for working from home and forcing yourself to actually start to work? So what I will say to this before I give my first lie, and we haven't even got to the 3 lies, but I mean, if you're new to the live stream, I have ADHD myself, so we're gonna go around a couple of different places, and then we'll get to whatever we're supposed to be talking about. But if you're at home and you're trying to start the work, what's the simplest thing that you can do that's productive towards the work that you have to do, right? If you have to write a 5-page paper, I'll tell myself, all right, Kojo, write 1 page. Just write 1 page, or just write 1 paragraph. And after you write 1 paragraph, you can reward yourself by watching some Atlanta Braves highlights, right? And see if Austin Riley hit a home run or if Spencer Strider had 10 strikeouts again. So I'll give myself a small reward. But what normally happens is once I start writing that paragraph, I'm like, all right, I can watch the Braves later. Let me finish this because I'm in a groove. So the hardest part is starting. So one thing that could be holding you back is you might be thinking about everything you have to do. And because of that, you just shut down, because that's what I do, right? So just start, and we should be good from there, right? Just start, and we should be good from there. Sydney says, lie, I can show up for everyone by myself. I like this a lot. And a lot of neurodivergent individuals are very empathetic, so you tend to want to do for everybody else, and you forget to take care of yourself. So this is a good one right here. And if you have the book, page 115, the workbook, we talk about hyping yourself up. And I just came back from the East Coast. I took so many books back to family. I'm out of books. I gotta buy books again. And real quick, a quick tip on social anxiety before I get to these lies. One thing that can be helpful for social anxiety, right, is complimenting strangers. I've made a post about this before, and I think this is super helpful. So if you're having a hard time being comfortable in a social environment, right, Latia, let's say I see Latia at Whole Foods, and I want to, I just want to like talk to you as a friend. I feel like I'm feeling froggy. I want to talk to somebody today, right? What I can do if I'm afraid of what Latia will say to me, I can look at her and say, oh, I like your hairstyle. I like your braids. My sister has those same braids, right? If I tell you that I like your hairstyle, the likelihood of you saying, get away from me, you creep, you still might say that, right? But it's not that likely. More than likely, you're going to say, oh, thank you so much. I got my hair done by this Jamaican lady down the street or whatever, right? So complimenting strangers is a great way to, have an icebreaker into talking to people, and let me get the, all right, where are these tips at? I have like 20 tabs open. All right, okay. All right, here's the first. Here's where you all can find the book. I'm hoping we can do the book giveaway a little bit later this year once more. All right, so the first slide that I have here is I'm not capable of being self-sufficient. So a lot of neurodivergent individuals tell themselves this, and I've told myself this before, right? And I'm coming from an ADHD perspective where I felt like I would never be self-sufficient because I always relied on too many people for stuff, right? Like I was the type of adult that was 25 years old, and then like I would be at the doctor's office and I would call my mom. I'm like, Mom, what type of insurance do we have? Blue Cross, Blue Sheet, I relied on I'm a mama's boy, right? So I'm relying on my mom for this. When I was in grad school trying to get this doctorate degree, I was living at home for the first 2 years. So my brothers would literally make me breakfast, because I'm always behind, I'm late. I need help from all these people, right? And we have to understand that as a human being, you're going to need help from every single person, right? Everybody will help you, and likewise, you'll help out other people. But when you've had a long day, right? You've lost your keys, you had to pay a late fee, or maybe let's say you have autism, and maybe you had a day where you had a lot of weird social interactions, right? And you feel like you don't have any friends, you don't know how you don't have anybody to do stuff with, right? You feel like you're not self-sufficient, right? Or you're not capable of doing that. But that's a lie, and you are capable of being self-sufficient, right? I will say this part right here, right? When it comes to autism, it's on a spectrum, right? So people say things like we used to use the term Asperger's, right? So you have like high function and low, all these different things, right? But it really is just autism spectrum disorder. So there's people who have autism, right? And they are able to do much more for themselves. And some people need more help, right? But even for the autistic individual who needs a lot of help, there are still things that you can do for yourself. Maybe need a little bit of help from other people, right? But we have to realize that we can do for ourselves. There's always something that we can do for ourselves, right? And there's a pride that comes with doing things on your own for yourself, right? But we will need help. Don't be like, all right, I can't take any help from anybody, right? But there's so much that we can do that we probably don't give ourselves credit for, right? And Tabitha says, never been to live chat, but I do love your post. Oh, this is hitting home for me right now. I'm 37 and finally getting into therapy after 32 years of trauma. I've never felt normal in my life. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Well, Tabitha, I don't know what to tell you, but I will say that I appreciate you being here in this community, and I'm happy that you're finally getting the help that you need. I'm sorry that it took so long. I'm super sorry that it took so long, but hopefully this is the fun part, right? We're gonna get that therapy, we're gonna get that help, we're gonna have all these tools that we need to take care of ourselves, right? So hopefully, the days in front of you are better than the days that you've had in the past, right? That's my wish for you. Like that song, my wish for you. Sally Taylor says, OMG, every day. Sally, this is me as well. I lose my keys. I lose my keys all the time, right? So, like, I almost lost my keys in Toronto when I went there. I don't even live in Canada, right? But my stuff is all over the place. So you got to be a little kind to yourself. Deborah says, I'm so proud of myself. I hired people to clean my house and help organize my house. I shut down for many months. Ritalin helped me get in gear. Your podcast is so helpful. So, a standing ovation for Deborah right here. Standing ovation. I'm proud of you. And that's the love of the show right there. That's fantastic. I'm proud for a couple of reasons, right? So number one, you hired people to help clean your house, right? If you have the ability to hire people to clean your house, I always say do so. Cleaning is a whole job. My housekeeper is one of the most important people in my lives, right? And then you also mentioned the Ritalin. A lot of people, first of all, some people can't even get their meds, right? But a lot of people use ADHD medications, and I think that these are the most like medications like Ritalin, Vyvanse, Concerta. I feel like ADHD meds are the most effective medications we have in all of psychiatry, right? So to see people say things like, "Oh, I got a prescription for it, but I don't want to take it because I don't want to depend on meds." I'm like, "Oh, just if your doctor told you to take it, just try it. It could change your life, right? It could change your life." And I think that's worth looking into. So, I'm very proud of you, Deborah. Keep that momentum going. Keep that momentum going. I'm very, very proud of you. Very proud of you. What are they called? For the medications, psychostimulants, but I'm not sure what else. Maybe you're talking about something else. If you lose your keys a lot, get a towel or item tracker to help so much. So Sarah, I actually have like the air I have a couple of towels and air tags. I just don't use them, which makes no sense, right? So I should use it. Yeah. Deborah, congratulations. You deserve it. Congratulations. Congrats. Uh, Aaron says, literally destroyed myself Friday because I waited 3 months for my son's behavioral evaluation and I missed it because I didn't check my purse for my keys and walked out, locking the door behind me. So, Aaron, thank you for sharing. And this right here is a perfect example of how ADHD. I'm not saying that you have it, right? But this is an ADHD thing. This is a perfect example of how ADHD can shut down your whole day, right? If this happens at the beginning of your day, you lock yourself out of your house. If you've done this before, depending on, for most people, it could just throw your whole day off, right? So we have to learn how to be a bit kinder to ourselves, right? A bit kinder to ourselves. Wish I had skills taught to me so I could teach my 5 ADHD AAZ kids. Well, Crystal, that's why we have the internet, So we're learning together, and we're gonna do this thing together, right? Ooh, let me talk about this real quick. So, Christina, I don't. Well, actually, I do have a podcast. It's called "What's Good with Dr. Kojo," but I'm going to rebrand it, and I want to do this podcast again for season 2. I'm going to bring a lot of my friends out here in California, and we're just going to have real conversations. I have so many friends who are neurodivergent. Like I have friends who I never knew. Like after years, they'll come up to me and say, "Oh, like I have ADHD too," or like I'm bipolar, and I'm like, "Oh wow, you never told me this." So like if they're willing to share, I want to get into their brains, and I want to talk about some of these things. So many people after I start posting my content are coming forward and talking about their experience. So I would love to record that and put that out for you all. And let me see, miss these lives. Hey, look, Nicole, that's all good, but when you do choose to be on the internet, if you decide to be here, it does mean a lot to me. I appreciate that. I'm Kate. Oh, I'm late, but I'm here. Aisha, you're here. Donya, I worked with everybody. I worked with everybody. Yeah, like a table talk, but not a red table talk. Maybe a blue table talk or something like that, But not a red table talk, right? All right. And the second lie that neurodivergent individuals tell themselves, right here. And yeah, this is a good message that Kendra put here. I'll let that stay for a quick second. And then the second lie that neurodivergent individuals tell themselves is, I cannot live the quality of life that I want. This is something that I also struggle with, right? And every now and then you'll say things that are, I mean, maybe not self-deprecating, but sometimes you say since the yellow table talk, that's right. You'll say things that show that you don't believe in yourself, right? Or for example, I might tell myself, I'll say, "Oh, I'm always gonna be wasteful and waste money and things like that." Now I understand that I have ADHD, so like I pay a lot of late fees, and if I forget to auto pay something, I'm gonna pay a late fee when I get to it, or I'm gonna pay a ticket. It just happens, right? But after you recognize patterns and you ask for help, just because you might be spacey, for lack of a better term, it doesn't mean that you can't live the quality of life that you want. You can. You just need help from certain people. Right? So you have to you have to be willing to ask for help when necessary, but you also have to believe in yourself, right? Like a lot of times people, the worst thing that I see when it comes to anything mental health related is when I'll see somebody online, and I dig through the comment section. It doesn't have to be my video. I'll look through the comment section late at night. I'll just be digging deep to see. I'm just curious, right? I'll see things like people tell themselves stuff like, "Oh, I I'm never going to be able to find somebody that I can date. I'm unbearable to live with. I'm unable to do this and that and this and that." Right? The words that we say of ourselves are very important, right? You can say, "Oh, I'm not able to do this at this moment, but in the future, I'm going to do better," right? The things that you say are very important. I haven't been able to be early to this and that, but in the future, I will be able to do this, right? We can live a high quality of life, right? It may be a bit more difficult, right? I don't want to lie to you all, right? It's like when somebody asked me a question about having borderline personality disorder and how to have a relationship, right? I said you can have BPD and still have a successful relationship. Is it going to take more work? Yes, I think it's going to take a lot more work. I don't want to say it's going to take significantly more work. All relationships take work, right? But if you have BPD, you have to know things like DBT can help, maybe meds or whatever the game plan is, but you can have a successful relationship. It's just going to take more work, right? It's kind of like a quarterback in the NFL. If right now Bryce Young is going to be the #1 pick, that's what they're saying. He's going to go to Carolina, right? He's 5'10", which is short for a quarterback, right? So does he have to work a bit harder? He got to work a bit harder, but he's still going to be the #1 pick in the draft, we think, right? Because he's a good quarterback. So even if you have some things about you that make it harder to do something, it doesn't mean that you have no chance to do that thing, right? We have to put a little bit more work in it, and that's fine. That's fine. Kendra, thank you for mentioning this. We're still working on an app called Groupthink. And this app is going to be our accountability app, right? So all I want people to do on this app is just wake up in the morning, eat a good breakfast, preferably high protein, high fiber, right? But eat a good breakfast and go for a walk. If you can do that, then that's all I want the group for. You know, in this app, you will be able to make your own group for whatever. But for me, I just want people to take a walk in the morning and eat a good breakfast. And then when the app comes out, that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna put down social media as soon as this is out there, right? Um, I wish I was able to articulate my thoughts in an orderly fashion. It's so hard for me to explain things. I either tell too much or not enough, and I'm all over the place. Well, here's the good news. Pray, travel, eat, and repeat. You're not the only person who struggles with this, right? There's a lot of people who may want to articulate their thoughts and they're not sure how to do it, right? So the same way you explain the fact that you're having a hard time to articulating your thoughts, I think you explain this really well, right? So the things that you do well, lean into that. But I think you're able. I get your point. I get your point. Kendra, thank you so much. There's some good providers out there. It's hard though, but it's there's some good providers out there. My biggest thing is telling myself I don't deserve anything new. Shopping is hard. I have a habit walking out empty-handed. I now have. So look, Angel, this right here deserves a love of the show. If you know that you have a hard time shopping, right, and you can't go to Target without grabbing a million things, having somebody to come with you, and that literally, if one person shopping with you saves you $300, I think that's pretty cool. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes we need somebody to hold our credit card. Sometimes we need somebody to, run ideas by before we do something because it might not be the smartest thing to do at that time, right? Love the show. Love the show. Let me see. I relate to number 2 a lot. I always wanted to be a nurse, but I stopped because I felt my personality and brain. I made myself believe I would struggle every day and didn't want that as a career, and I felt lost ever since I changed my life goal. But I compromised by still working in health field as a customer service rep for health insurance. So, Aaron, I'm of the belief that until you do what you really want to do, you might not be as fulfilled as you should be, right? You can still be a nurse. There's so many RN programs out there. You can get your associate's degree. You don't have to get a bachelor's degree. If you have a bachelor's already, you can hop into a 1-year accelerated master's program. And I'm not going to keep going and going because I could talk about nursing all day, right? Obviously, I know, but there's a time for everything. Maybe it wasn't time for you to become a nurse, right? But there's so much. My dad, he did nursing as a second career. I think he graduated like in his 50s, right? So there's time. There's time. So sometimes we tell ourselves these lies that we can't do certain things, but that's a lie. We can do those things, right? So we just have to talk to ourselves in a more positive manner. Carmona says, how can I explain ADHD to my Ghanaian husband? It's so hard. I feel so bad. I could not convey why I behave a certain way. So I see your last name. It's a Ghanaian last name. So look, I'm from Ghana as well. I'll say this. Back where we're from, so here in America, like I make these videos, posting my mental health. I try to make it funny and humorous and engaging. And I'm realizing that a lot of people, in the States, Americans do not know how ADHD works. They don't know how mental health works, right? But go back to my country in West Africa, we have even less knowledge, right? Like at least people in the States are like, okay, I think ADHD is a real thing. Maybe my friend isn't lying when they say that, they lose their keys every day. But where we're from in Ghana, we have we have much less knowledge about this stuff, and it's a life goal of mine to find a way to go back to my country and help them out as well. Like I'm gonna be here in LA, but I want to help out my people as well. I would say, I mean, maybe show your husband some of my videos, talk about the things that you do, and maybe even group therapy. Both of y'all going to therapy, but it's very difficult because some people just do not understand. And I'm talking about my people. I mean, you can say this for the African American community as a whole. The education is not there, right? So that's why I feel like it's a job of mine to have to educate, my people back at home in Africa, through these videos, right? So sometimes sending a video will help, but I think maybe even taking your husband with you to the doctor's appointment. You gotta find a doctor who actually believes in ADHD, because some doctors I've learned don't think ADHD is a real thing. I don't know how they became a doctor, but taking your husband to an appointment could be very helpful. All right. And we are at the 30-minute break. So it's time for the water break, and I'll drop the third thing in here. But the water break, how we do the water break is somebody drops in the magic word, which we already have here, which is cheers, right? And the magic word cheers enables us to get some water in, right? We forget to drink water. Another thing that neurodivergent individuals sometimes forget to do is drink water and stay hydrated. Well, this is anybody, right? So the water break is going to give us a chance to get some water in, right? So big cheers, y'all. Big cheers. As you can tell, I'm underhydrated. So a water break was needed. Let me see this real quick. I need to read my notes before sending. Have a little bit of age screaming me. And look, if you think you should pursue nursing again, I think you should. I wish I didn't get bored with things so easily. As soon as I feel I've mastered a job, I always like to go try something completely new. So this is something that a lot of people with ADHD deal with, including myself, right? So sometimes, like even the videos I make, I've never not enjoyed being Dr. Kojo. I love doing this, right? But if I keep making the same type of video over time, I will get bored. I'm like, all right, I have to switch it up so that way I don't stop, right? So sometimes you can throw a little wrinkle in what you do, right? And just kind of flip it a little bit. It might allow you to do that thing for much more longer. And Natasha, yes, this live and all the live streams will be available to watch after the fact. So if you have to go somewhere or something like that, every single live stream I've done since I started this a year ago is going to be available to view after. All right. Now this is the third lie that neurodivergent individuals tell themselves. All right. And I really wanted to talk about this one, right? I'm always going to have to mask, right? And what is masking? Masking is one of the reasons why it's hard for women to get diagnosed, especially with ADHD, right? But masking is just a way of fitting in, right? In this world, you'll realize that there's a way that most people are. And if you are like most people, you'll be accepted more. So what you start to do is you start to cover up things about yourself that might be quirky or kind of weird, right? And as you mask, masking, you do it to survive, right? Like sometimes we have to mask to survive. So you do it over and over. And after a while, you realize that, when you're making friends or when you're making connections, people are accepting you for the version of yourself that you put out there. So sometimes you question yourself and you ask yourself, do people really love me, or do they love the version of myself that I'm putting out there, right? So masking, it's not something that we want to do for long periods of time, but we do it as a survival, mechanism, something that we do to be accepted by other people, right? And for women with ADHD, especially, sometimes, you can just ask women here. on the live stream. If you're female and you've been diagnosed with ADHD late in life, if you can just drop the age that you're diagnosed in the comment section, so that way people who are not familiar know what I'm talking about. But if you just drop the age in there, and I'll just click it. But women with ADHD sometimes have to wait until their 30s to be diagnosed, and sometimes even later than that, right? Whereas their male counterparts might be diagnosed in second grade, right? So second grade versus 37 years old, big gap there, big gap there. That's decades of having to mask, and that gets pretty tiring. So Brooke said she was diagnosed at 30. Christine, 41 years old. Candace, 46. Holly, 43. Mickey, 50. Sarah, 37. Shannon, 38. Kim, 47. Carmona wrote a paper on masking, diagnosed at 42. Christine's brother was diagnosed at age 7, and she was diagnosed at 41. Wow. 30. Wow. 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 I was diagnosed with ADHD at 39. Found out after your son was diagnosed. So Michelle had a whole child, which helped her get the diagnosis. Nicole said 16. Toya, 59. Learned to say no. Jackie said 33. Angela, 30. Kendra, 33, 34. Currently 35. Leisha, diagnosed at 29. So Leisha looks like, somebody was on it at an early age, and then they said depression, and then Zoloft is what you use for depression, or one of the things that we use, right? And apparently they updated the diagnosis in your late 20s. Ellen, 36. Sharonda, is that like Young Boy's mom? Sharonda. Sharon, 62. Wow. Renee, 59. Diagnosed right before I turned 34. Wow. Diagnosis 40. Wow. No formal diagnosis yet, but I worry about the 4 that I care for. Respect. Diagnosed at 32. Brett, this counts. Thank you for sharing. Sister diagnosed at 40, and Brett was diagnosed at 10. So this is literally a thing, a 30-year gap, and these are siblings, right? If this is your first time seeing how this works, it might freak you out a bit. Trying to get diagnosis, 27. LaDonna, 41. Debbie, 45. First Mesa, 68. Amanda, 34. Jacqueline, 18. Literally, we can cut this clip out, and that's a video, just to show people what's going on. Just cut this clip out. That's a video. My husband diagnosed at elementary school. I was diagnosed 25 days before I turned 34. Megan said 18. Okay, somebody got to Megan as a teen. Diagnosed with bipolar at 50. Bipolar disorder is also a disorder where people sometimes have to wait decades, or sometimes people may have to wait like about a decade for an accurate bipolar disorder diagnosis. And that's males and females. Diagnosed at 39. After her daughter was diagnosed. Eugene, 37. Aaron, 45. Wow. Yeah. Shannon. Yeah. That's crazy, right? That is crazy. That's crazy. That's wild. That's wild, right? The third point, I'm always going to have to mask, right? That's a lie that a lot of women with ADHD may tell themselves. I always have to mask, right? I'm not going to be accepted. And Amy says boys display more impulsive behaviors, and teachers usually notice the right way, leading to early diagnosis. This is correct. This is actually correct. So a lot of boys being jumpy in class, eventually being the class clown only gets you so far, and then the teachers will, write on the report card, and then somebody will see you. But for women, sometimes that's not the case unless they are disruptive. Didn't get diagnosed bipolar 2 until 33. Diagnosed with ADD 27, now 40. Diagnosed at 8. It didn't start meds treatment until 30. Wow. My dad didn't believe in elementary school and told the principal he could handle. Oof, Clara. Oof, sorry. Oh, sorry. Wow. I read that, but then it hit me after the fact. Mickey Picky. Wow. Diagnosed at 39 with ADHD here. Thanks to your videos. I got you. April, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. These comments, it means a lot to me. I can take it back and show my mom, so that way she knows that I'm using the internet for something productive, right? Oh, wow. So yeah, you don't have to mask, right? But you'll tell yourself that, I got to mask to be accepted. But wouldn't it be so cool, right? to be in a world where you can be yourself, you can be quirky, you can do whatever you do, and you're with somebody, right? Whether that's your partner or you're with people that accept you for who you are, exactly how you are. Nothing feels better than that, right? No, even the pseudo acceptance that you feel when people, when people accept your representative, the person that you're putting on to be, pretending to be, the person that you are when you mask. When people accept you just for being you, that's a good feeling, Mickey Vicky. That's a good feeling. Uh, Abigail says, masking is super scary for me, especially when it comes to people I date. I have no idea what that would look like. Ooh, don't give me some video ideas right there. So let me talk about that real quick. And then I gotta get to some emails, Mickey Ficky. Damn. All right, but so this is actually super, super scary, Abigail. Especially in the when it comes to dating, right? Now I know that it's 2023, so people say, "Oh, we don't do gender roles anymore. Women can do a man's job, a man can do women." So now we appear to be quite progressive, right? Sure, but we have to be realistic, right? If Abigail's on a date with somebody, right, and let's say there's a couple of quirky things that she does or whatever, or you show a blade or whatever it is, right? If you unmask, right? Let's say Abigail meets somebody off of a dating app or Hinge or whatever, and you're on the second date, and the guy is digging you, or you're the person that you're dating, they're digging you and whatnot, and then you start to show parts of yourself. That's pretty scary because you don't know if they're gonna stay, if they won't, and if you like them, you kind of want them to stay around, right? So the natural tendency is to make sure that you're on your best behavior, right? Like you come early, you come on time, you don't do anything weird, right? But you can only keep that up for so long. And that's going to cause so much anxiety. You're like, all right, how do I unmask? And eventually you get more comfortable with being yourself. And it's so funny because, like, as a kid, we are ourselves. Like, when you're a kid, you do weird things. Like, we're kids, but then when we become adults, we feel like we have to be somebody else, right? That's just life. And then you throw in the neurodivergence, becomes much more difficult, right? So Abigail, you gotta be kind to yourself because people will say, "Oh, yeah, just show people who you are, and people gotta accept you for who you are," until you actually show them who you are, and then folks are like, "You're weird," right? So I mean, it's good to be upfront and say that because we know that what people say and what they do is two different things sometimes, right? So you can't judge yourself. Why I am single at 49? Well, Kim, look, I promise you, I'm not no dating coach or anything like that. But the closer you get to being yourself, right? Just being yourself is such a beautiful thing, and you will find your people eventually. You might be like in Kansas, and then your people might be in like Arkansas, but you will find your people. I truly believe that. Yes, ooh, I could use some water again right now. Coughing, and Mickey Ficky's coughing. Self-compassion is key. Self-compassion is key. Self-compassion is so key. I used to be somebody who, maybe it comes from playing football in high school. I used to get off on talking to myself, talking down to myself, right? Because that's my language I understood. A coach saying, "Oh, get your ass in line." That's how we talked in the football world. It was spicy water, Kendra. But as an adult, I'm like, yo, life is hard. Life is already gonna kick my butt. I don't have to kick my butt. I don't have to kick myself. I don't have to kick my own butt verbally with the words that I say to myself. I've got to be nice to myself. I've got to be nice to myself. So now I use kind words. I talk to myself like I'm 8 years old. And if I say the things that I say in my head out loud, it'll sound weird, but screw it. Like this is what works. This is what works for me. Try to give myself grace when I feel like I failed life. Now I was easy with family, kids, and business depending on you. Shannon, true, but I'll guarantee you that you're probably doing better than you think. Anytime that I'm struggling, I always tell myself I'm doing better than I think. Like our brains, that's why all this education is important. And I'm excited I get to do it in like my fun way, and thank you to the people who watch because I do want to continue to educate people and get these conversations going, but I want to do it in this fun and engaging and informing way, right? And even I've had moments where, like, I came from the Today Show in New York, like that's the height of my whatever I'm doing, right? And then a week later, I had like a rough week, and I'm like, oh, I'm failing at life. I was just on the Today Show. Why am I thinking that I'm failing at life, right? Our brains have all these negative thoughts that come through, and we have to filter it and be like, nah, no, no, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. All right. Oh, Mickey Ficky. Let me see. Oh, damn. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. I gotta go. Mickey. Damn, I'm having a good time. Normally the live streams are like 30 minutes long, but sometimes we go to an hour. I just like going and going. But I do have to get off and take care of a couple of things. But we'll be back on the live stream on Thursday for sure. We may even go live more times throughout the week because we're preparing for Mental Health Awareness Month in May. So it's going to be a big month for me, So one of the benefits of me resting in April, being with family for all that family stuff is I got to rest, and now I'm charged up. I'm ready to go, So I'm excited that you all have me here, and it's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great month as well. So until Thursday, I will see you all there. And like Shannon said here, you got to be nice to yourself, right? So we're all doing better than we think. So let's give ourselves some credit. All right. That's a good stream. See you all Thursday. Love y'all.